All right. I'm joined now by the two-time Olympic champion, three-time world champion, and I can't forget that world championship bronze medal in the 1500.
Of course.
Caster Semenya, thanks for joining me here in New York City. How you liking New York?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Now, New York is beautiful. I love it, but we're here for work, so I haven't really done anything major outside the work. But I'm loving it. I like the atmosphere. The weather is amazing. I was expecting a little bit of cold weather, but it's nice. It's nice. I'm loving it.
Yeah, you're on a little bit of a book tour. Your book just came out today, actually, right?
Yes, it came out
Publication
today.
day. Congratulations.
Thank
The Race
you.
to Be Myself. Your
Yes.
memoir is out now. I had the chance to spend a couple hours reading it. I made it through, and it was impactful. I think that's the word that comes to mind for me, because as someone who has covered track and field for now 11 years, like I've seen you on the track, I've seen you in the mix zone where you're coming through, and I know sometimes that could be annoying because there's so much walking after the race.
Yes.
And for the last couple for that whole time, you've kept really tight-lipped about your private history ever since 2009.
Of course.
And now this is the chance for you to kind of really tell your truth and tell your story.
Yes.
And I'm curious, my first question is, why is now the time for you to really come forward and share everything?
Yes, I think now is it's just the time. I think it was just perfect timing because I'm ready. I'm matured enough. I have knowledge, I have skills, to tell the story. But most important thing, I think, is about educating people. It's about, giving those lessons, but also sharing my experience, with those who are close to me, you understand? But for me, I think also it was a process for me to heal. I'll say, yeah, I was ready emotionally, physically, psychologically, and yeah, I think it was just about time.
Was it hard to keep quiet and keep those feelings suppressed a little bit? Because, I've been in those post-race interviews sometimes when there's been other reporters who will ask those questions, and it's hard to get angry. It's hard to get emotional.
Of course.
But you never really lashed out.
Because I'm the master. I wouldn't say it was hard for me to keep in because that's how I compose myself. That's how I had to, rebuild myself. I had to just keep quiet and watch from the distance. Remember, from young, I'm used to people criticizing. I'm used to people just judging me. I'm like, oh, let them do their work. I'll do my work, because my job was to perform. My job was to train hard. My job was to just be disciplined and showcase, my talent, not to speak, because speaking for me, it was just a waste of time, you understand? And when people question me, I always say, yeah, that means I'm doing something great. That means I'm alive. That means I exist. So for me, I just have to keep on entertaining them, so they'll keep on doing their talking. And for me, it's easy because I know my purpose. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm doing. I know my destination. So when people start talking, I'll be like, I love it because they build me. You understand? They make sure that I stay focused, so I can never lose my cool. Because at the end of the day, they build you to become a better person. Mm-hmm. They teach you how to react, through all these things. And then you start realizing, you know what? I don't need to react, upon that. Mm-hmm. I need just to act. So for me, by just portraying that on the track, making sure that I do my work, with perfection. So that's what defined me. And that's what, fascinated me. I was like, okay, if I have this skill of posing, if I have this skill of just being myself regardless of what, I can be whoever I want to be. Mm-hmm. So for me, yes, I cannot say it was hard. It was just easy. It was just easy, especially when we speak psychology. When people speak, you keep quiet. You just listen attentively, and then you get real answers. And then you'll know what, if 2% in the world speaks nonsense, and then 98% speak in a positive way, then why should I worry? Why should I respond to that? So, yeah.
You learned that very early on in your childhood.
Of course.
The first 100 pages of the book, it really is those formative years of your childhood where you're getting questions and other children are asking you things about your gender. And so, I think for a lot of people, they think, oh, this started in 2009. It didn't.
No, it started from the beginning. So I think for me as an African child, we call this a calling. So when you are meant to be, it's like a king or a queen. Where we're coming from, we have chiefs, we have those people who surround the chiefs and all those things. I think for me, I'll say I was the chosen one. I was born for this. God gave me this life knowing that I am the change. And for that's why now we have this book. We're going to, teach people how to carry themselves, how to have a better relationship, with themselves. Because the most important thing about this book is not about all these things that has happened, but it's all about how I've enjoyed, how I carried myself, how I kept my cool, and all those things. And for me, I think I believe in God and I believe in my ancestors. So for me, my name first speaks volume because I am Muhadi. And Muhadi means the one who guides, you understand? So I am the one to lead. For me, it was about portraying leadership, you understand? So, and I'll say from young, also my parents have done well, how they've raised me. They make sure that they give me that support, love. They appreciated me. They never judged me. But one thing that they did for me is to see me happy each and every day. So I think that has allowed me to have that power in me to own myself.
I think one of the things that's interesting is it's hard for me to read running books because running is so much of my job and every day. This isn't what I would call a running book. It's not everything about your training. It doesn't have splits and workouts and anything like that. This is your story.
Of course.
And I think running comes into it very early on.
Yes.
One of my favorite parts was the early running days with Boss, your first teacher, first coach. You said to him, running makes me feel free.
Of course.
Now, obviously, we know how your career on the track has panned out. Was that always the case?
It has always been the case because if you look at where I'm coming from a small village, in the northern province, in South Africa, which is, it's dusty. We had no electricity. We had no running water. You have to make it up for yourself. You have to wake up, walk kilometers to fetch water, walk kilometers to get into the bush, collect firewood, to make sure that you can prepare a meal. You understand? For me, I think it comes within, these things of running. And when I was out there, playing soccer, when I was out there, running around, I felt free. That was my freedom, So running has always made me feel free and still does even today. And I'm still doing it today, even when I'm not in competitive world. So, yeah.
I think what that first part of the book that's interesting is, and I remember in one part you say that you have never gone back to watch the press conferences from Berlin in 2009.
Yeah.
I did. I spent the last couple of days on YouTube and I saw it. And one of the things was that, I think the IAAF spokesman at the time was the reason why we didn't have enough time to do these tests beforehand and to get answers and clarity before is because you popped out of nowhere to people, that African championships before.
Nonsense.
And I think that if we had that first half of the story, I think it would have made more sense to people. What do you think?
I think he speaks about things that you don't know, because if he talks about I popped out from nowhere, it's not true, because if he goes to the database of IAAF, he will see that I exist. Before even I ran the World Championships or even I ran African Junior Championships, I ran sanctioned World Championships in the juniors.
Right.
I ran in Bidgost 2008, I mean. So when he says I popped out from nowhere, it shows that people are careless in their job. It shows that they're not doing enough research about what they're doing. And I ran Commonwealth Youth Games. You understand? I won the Commonwealth Youth Games. So you understand? Before that, I did not come from nowhere. It's just when someone does good and it's coming from African soil, it's a problem.
Yeah.
You understand? So it wasn't about me coming from nowhere. It was just about I ran the world lead. I'm #1 in the world. I ran in Africa. So there must be something wrong with it. You understand? So, and for me, it makes me laugh because I know that I had power in me to change the world. And since that day, I've changed the athletics world. I've changed it for real. Yes.
I mean, what's your record in the 800? Undefeated since?
Since 2015. Yes, last time I lost a race was in Berlin, where I actually won my world title.
I found it interesting that you said you don't have any problem going back to Berlin. Like there'd be some athletes who would be like, oh, that scarred me. That was so traumatic. But no, you kept going.
No, Berlin was my second home. That's where I was born. You understand? My athletics career began there as a senior athlete. You understand? For me, going back there, it was beautiful. When I ran there, it makes me feel home. People there love me, I love them. And they love seeing me run. And if you look at all the performances that I've delivered in that stadium, it's phenomenal. You look at my 600 meters, I ran the world lead there, you understand? It's like a world best time, 1:21 there, so you understand? So for me, it's about the atmosphere. It's about the connection I have with German people. They love me in Berlin, I love them. So I've always go there. Even at my worst, I make sure that I go there.
The process of telling that part, right? I think that is maybe the part of the book that, for a lot of people, that's, whoa, this is the first time we're hearing this.
Of course.
The 2019, the testing beforehand in South Africa, and then the testing in Berlin, and just like the level of detail that you go in about it. Can you describe to me, I guess, the process of putting that to paper and writing that? What feelings were you feeling in that moment?
I think it was a healing process because you're reliving the memories. And I wanted to see if I was feeling pain or anything. Funny enough, I did not, because for me, if you are a messenger, you are here to send a strong message to the world. So I'll say, if you know Jesus' story, I'll put myself in his space. You understand? I'll say, I am the sacrifice to the young upcoming generation. So if not me, who? You understand? I always ask those questions. And when I went through the process, I was like, hey, this was funny, you know, because I remember, you know, going there, taking the blood, and then being examined and all those things. I'm like, but this is just the normal procedure that each and every individual goes. It's just then I was young, you understand? It was not really my concern. I just had no choice because of I went there with desperation, you understand? And I cannot say that I was hurt because of that. No. The only thing that was in my mind was for me to get into that final. It was not about how I'm being treated. How I'm being treated is nothing. I'm a human. Anybody can be treated like that. You understand? You can deal with that later on. You understand? And when we write in this book, I'm like, you know, I'm explaining, and then, you know, people will be emotional. But for me, come on. It's just one act that I'll say is like I'm an actress. You know, I'm like Tom Cruise. I'm like those Queen Latifah, you know, Queen Latifahs, and, you know, those guys. And for me, it's just those memories. They mean a lot to me because it's my life. You understand? But it's a learning curve to each and every individual to say, you must never ever let anyone violate you to that extent. You must not let desperation determine your destiny, you know, determine your final destination. You understand? You should know your rights. Then I did not know my rights. Now I'm teaching people to understand that you have a right to say no. You understand? You have a right of being. You understand? You should understand your human rights. I think it's very, very important for each and every individual understand that. For me, reliving those moments, I think it's more of was a healing process because now I started understanding that, oh, in Berlin, actually, I was not mad. I was only mad after the situation where I see, people are talking about me. That's the only anger I had. But I had to keep it to myself to say, you know what? They don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're talking about. Let me say, stay away from them. Let them talk, just pause it and keep it to myself. The day I want to tell it, I'll tell it, which is now is the right time. People will understand that, sometimes in life you enjoy a lot of things. So because you sacrifice yourself for others. And now it's just a time for me to fight for what is right. Yeah.
I know in the behind the scenes, there were people trying to talk you out of, hey, don't run the final. Let's, diffuse the situation now. It's only going to get worse. You were insistent, I'm going to run that final.
Of course.
Now, I know you're doing, a little bit of coaching here and there, and you're so much more educated on the subject matter.
Of course.
If you're the coach and you're dealing with 18-year-old Castor at that point,
of course,
you're telling her to run the final?
I'll tell her to run the final. Why? Because there's no one who's going to drag her out of that track. And if that's the case, that she needs to do the last dance at the first time, and the last time, I'll advise you to do that because that moment is yours. That moment you own it. That moment you've been working for it. So why letting people to stop you to expressing yourself? Why letting people stopping you to actually celebrate yourself? If it's the last time, if it's the first time and the last time, why not? That's what I've done. I'll still advise one to do that. But the only thing that I can advise them not to do is to go through shame, is to go through what I went through, because if you're going to allow people to violate you, I don't know how you're going to handle it, because, I know it wasn't easy for me to pass through those times. So are you ready to go through that? Can you handle it? Those are going to be the question. But if you think you can handle it, who am I to stop you?
Right.
You understand? But I can only advise to say, look, it's okay, run and see what will be the outcome. If the outcome says you've been forced to do this and this and that, hormonal therapy, surgery, all those things, say no. Rock yourself, believe in yourself, move on, look into other things, adventures, you understand? Do something different. Go back to school, be educated, own something, you understand? Those are the things that I can advise a young, Castor Semenya, a young Wamboy, a young, Francine Yosaba, you understand? A young Emily, you understand? So Seni, you understand? Those are the things that I can say to them. But it's their own decision at the end of the day what they want. If they're ready to enjoy that, it's fine to carry on with it. But if not, I'll advise them to fight for what is right. Yeah.
One of the cool things, I love hearing the behind the scenes behind these great races.
Of course.
In the warm-up area, you described that you saw the fear in the eyes of your competitors.
Of course.
I know you could just, in the book, you put that to words. It's just one sentence. Can you describe to me what that looked like?
It looked amazing because I was the one who's running the show. I turned left.
At that point, you won the race. You're in their head.
That's where, I was all over their heads. I can still remember I saw Usain Bolt at the corner. I saw fear in those men's eyes. When Usain Bolt did the run-through, everyone is looking at him and say, oh, they lost the game. Because how the hell are you going to watch your opponent do warm-ups? You understand? And then I go around, I see all these 7 ladies. They're looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm the dog. I have arrived. You understand? And it made me feel good because I was confident. And then I passed through the tents, passed through the Russian tent, passed through the British tent, passed through the Kenyans, passed through Ukrainians. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. You understand? I was there to rule. I belonged, and I was there to stay. regardless of what. And what I loved about it is that no one could talk to me. Only one lady spoke to me, Marilyn Okoro.
Yeah.
We had a small chat. She asked me if I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to kill it. You understand? She was like, I can see. You understand? That's the sister I respect. You understand? Out of all those people that ran in that final, but then later on, you start heavy, engagement, let alone the Italian. I didn't have time for her. She didn't have time for me, you understand? But after those years, we sisters. I can communicate with her, Alisa Kuzma. She said horrible things about me, but I met her last year. We spoke, you understand? Because I don't hold grudges. I know people, they speak out because of anger. They speak out of, desperation. They also want to win, I understand, these frustrations. But if you're not going to give me respect, I'm not going to give it to you. You understand? But for me, I am not like you. I make peace easily. So I speak to them. I came across, Chepskoske. We're good friends, you understand? I came across Jenny Meadows. We're good friends. The very same Sevenova that, portrayed me as, look at her, She didn't call me her, you understand? She's like a boy. You get what I'm saying? I still had that sportsmanship because I was made for a change. I was made to come here and make people realize that humanity is the power. You understand? Sports is for all. It speaks to us with the language that we can understand. And that's me. I took over the greatest, the late Nelson Mandela's. You understand? I've learned about humanity. So for me, that final, that was the beginning. You understand? I was not going to let it to be the beginning and the end. But when my officials told me that maybe you should not run, I said, no freaking way. I'm going to make it to that final. I'm going to walk in there. You're going to put that medal in my neck. You understand? And that's when they were alive. That's when they start realizing that, you know what? This is the kind of mentality we need in the sports. And I'll continue doing that. Yes?
The analogy of the eyes comes up other times in the book.
Of course.
Where you talk about some of the other women who did decide to go through with the hormonal therapy or with the surgeries.
Yes.
And you said the light in their eyes was dimmed at that point.
Of course.
What did you mean by that?
What I mean is that the minute you've been fooled to go through that, because you're being lied to that, if you go through this surgery, you still make it. But you're forgetting that if someone cuts something out of your body, you are different. You're no longer going to be the same person. It's more like when you go through that and take that. I was one of them. I went through the hormonal therapy. I was always in the dark. You live through hell. You're going to live through depression. You'll be depressed. You will live under the stress. When I say stress, that means there's no light over the tunnel. You're digging a hole that you can never fill up. It's like a borehole. When you dig a borehole, that soil that you take out, even if you try to fill it, it can never be filled. That's what I'm saying, that you're drilling a hole that you cannot fill. If you go through that medication, you go through that hormonal therapy, is the end of your happiness, because you'll never be happy. Nothing will make you happy. That's what I mean, because it's darkness. You're in the dark. It's like going to the space, you don't make it back. Yeah. If that Apollo bust, how are you going to make it back home?
You don't.
It's the same. It's the same feeling that people need to start learning how to treat others with respect, humanity. Dignity is very important. Yes, let alone our differences, but for me, treating people with respect, appreciating them, accepting them for who they are, is the best. But that darkness, you can't light it up.
It's interesting because now we kind of see, since 2018, right? Or since 2019, when the rules got put back in place, you're still the biggest one who's taken to the fight. Like,
course.
we look at Francine. Francine's tried the 5K and 10K.
Yes.
Margaret Wambui has disappeared.
Never. Yeah.
And I think that if we look at the events that she can try to compete in now, the 5K, the 10K, she's Kenyan. Like, we know how good the Kenyans are in those events. We never got to, she's 28 years old. We never got to see, like, I think the best of her.
The problem is it's impossible for one to just switch from one event to another. Athletes, we're not born the same. As much as they say we have higher, the advantage, the testosterone play advantage. No, it does not. Because at the end of the day, if I'm designed only for 800 meters, it is for me. Unfortunately, I've been running 800 meters since I was like 15 years of age. And then at the age of 29, 30, I need to switch. It cannot. Even if I try to switch, I cannot do nothing. I can't beat anyone over those races. It shows that there's no advantage. It's just hard work. So I feel sorry for, Margaret, sitting there at home, Imali. It was just the beginning of their careers. And unfortunately, there's nothing that they can do. But because we here, some of us are vocal enough to fight for what is right, we sacrifice ourselves for them so they can have that chance to compete. You understand? We want to make it right. We want to make it so people can understand that, you know what, this is nonsense. Regulating women's sports is not really important because you're killing, actually, women's sports. You're just killing it. There's no level in play, if you may say. Because if we're going to talk about fairness in sports, if you're going to talk about fairness in sports, this debate, we can never end because no one can win the debate. Because at the end of the day, if you talk about fairness in sports, we must start with men. Go fix men's categories. Categorize men, say, okay, short guys, go the other side. Tall, go the other side. The one with a maybe bold, head, go the other side. You get what I'm saying? So if you're going to say you're going to categorize based on that, genetics, it cannot work. So it shows that if you're going to attack people based on their genetics, it's nonsense. But I just feel sorry for those young ones who cannot fight for themselves, who cannot voice out, who cannot say, hey, this is nonsense. You can't do this, you can't do that. But if I'm here to do that for them, why not me?
I do want to talk about some of these races that you highlighted all throughout the book because, I just love hearing the behind the scenes. So I went back and I watched the 2011 World Championship race. That was wild. That race was wild, especially because now if you look at the results, you see the Russians have all been disqualified. And I think that you said, that was the first time in my life I felt like I truly got hit by another runner. I respected her for that win. I still do.
Yes.
I think there's some people might take offense to that one line in the book because, she's been convicted of doping. Why is there still that level of respect?
At the end of the day, I felt the pain that I never felt before. People need to start understanding that race is not about doping for me. It's about...
You feel the same way about 2012 as well.
That's what I'm saying. For me, it's about what I felt in the race. People need to, do not understand me. I'm not promoting doping. I'm not promoting anything. At the end of the day, I give the respect of the move. If you have done video analysis, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about art. I'm talking about how she executed, despite of her being doped. You understand? Despite of her being cheating. To me, I don't really care about that. What I felt in that race, no one know what I felt. If I made a move when she passed, I could have tripped. You understand? Because when I moved last 250, I thought, no, man, it's done. No one can pass me over the 200 meters, last 100. But when I got to 50 meters, what that woman did there, for me, it was crazy. It was unbelievable. And I look at her smile.
Literally
I'm
unbelievable.
Like, what just happened? I thought I was done. But for me, I will say I respect that because she moved. Even if she's dope, at the end of the day, it don't change the position. It don't change that on the video she won the race. Even if you go back to 2011, you cannot eliminate her on the race. That's why people need to understand that we can't change what happened. We can just fix mistake that people, have done. Yes, she's saving her band, she saved her band, and it's okay. But what I'm trying to say is that in a technical point of view, you must look, I respect the tactic. People, please don't misunderstand me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in a technical point of view. I'm a master in 800 meters. I'm a master class.
I mean, 2012.
Yes, of course.
The final 100 meters, you go from 6th to 2nd place. And then that gets upgraded to 1st.
Yes, you understand? So it's the same thing for me, 2012. I ran a race. I'm not feeling good. I'm not in my grooves. And I'm watching. I can see that moving. I want to give up the race. It goes the bell. I see Francine. She's in front of me. I'm like, come in front of me. What's happening? You understand? And I go to the last 300. I said, you know what? I'm going to push for the last time because now I'm thinking of my parents. My mom and dad are up there on the grandstand. And I'm like, I'm not going to disappoint my parents. You understand? I'm going to try to push through and see what happens in the last 200 meters. I get to 300. The body get activated. I get to 200. It comes back. I say, you know what? Let me try bronze medal. Because I know there's a possibility of me winning a bronze on the last, meters of the race. It's not too late. I knew to win, I was out. It's too late. And the last 100 meters, the body just activated, Of course, I mastered the last 100 meters. When I pushed, I see the bronze is here. When I pass, get to the bronze, I see, I think the silver, let me upgrade myself. And when I hit that last stretch, I get to, second position. I'm happy with that. And on that one, there's nothing much I can say about it. It's the same. She's still number one, regardless of drugs, regardless of what, regardless of anything. It's the same as if someone is a thief, stole $1 million, and go to jail and come back. At the end of the day, whoever done that, he made good money out of it because he saved for that money. You understand? That's why I'm saying that people must not misunderstand me when I say the pain I felt there, I've never felt before. As an athlete, training hard 9 months before that race, and then I get there on the last 50 meters, that woman whipped me. She really hit me hard. Yeah. Yes.
We fast forward to the Rio Olympics, but then, kind of in that time period, this is back when you're, I guess, on the medication, right? Like between 14, 15.
14, 15, of course.
And then eventually, leading into the 2016 Olympics, there's a pause on the rules. I did not know this, and this is another thing we learned in the book. Stress fracture between Monaco and the Olympics. Your physio, Anita, basically worked a miracle.
No, I worked miracle. So.
Oh yeah, because then now after that you cut yourself.
I cut myself just
can I see the scar?
Yeah, to clean my ankle so the swelling can go down. What happened is that year, probably I was careless a bit in terms of strengthening. I wasn't strengthening my ankles enough. Yeah. And when we were in Durban for African Champs, I ran 1,500 and 8. Then when I ran 4x4, I could feel the angle is blocked. And I said, you know what, it's just a block. I ran the 400, I split. In that lap, I split, I think, 49.3. And it was done. And then I went back, I checked it was better. I went to Monaco. I ran Monaco good, nice time, national record, leading time. But after that, I couldn't walk. And I called, Violence, like, my season is done. And I called Anita, my friend, we have problems.
And the rest of the world doesn't know this.
No one knows that.
You kept it very secret.
I kept it, to myself. Yeah. And we came back. I look at Jan Fester, my coach then. I said, my friend, unfortunately, it looks like it's the end. It's the end of the road. We have a decision to make. And I went home. we met with Anita at airport, and I couldn't walk. When I walk, if someone is coming, I'll walk normal. When they go, I will freak up. It's that pain that you can't bear. Because I remember I was sitting with Dambere, the guy from Italy.
Yeah.
When he broke his ankle, I
You were next to him?
I messed up my ankle as well. We're sitting there, he's screaming like, ah! He's missing the Olympics. I'm like, I'm also missing my Olympics. And we went home, we spoke, went to Anita, asked her one question: can you fix my ankle or no? You only have yes or no. I said, but think carefully, because don't give me hopes if you can't fix this thing. And she was like, don't tell me you'll try, tell me you'll do it, because I don't want people to try. I want them to give their best. And she said, yes, we can do it. Then the process starts a week. I talked to Fester. I said, look, you can take a leave. Let me find myself. Let me handle this situation myself. When I need you, I'll call you. And Samuel was the guy that pays me. I said, you're going to stay next to me. I'm going to implement the program of the track, of the grounds, in the gym.
You didn't do any track workouts before?
No, I didn't do track
Between
workouts
Monaco?
Between Monaco and
Rio.
3 weeks before
3
Olympics.
weeks before
because I did 1 full week in the gym, second week, and the leg was better, could move, and then I did 1 week on the ground. I couldn't do the tens, I did the straights because I couldn't risk the fracture again. So the main goal was for me to get the feeling of running. I'll risk my leg. If I have to break it, it's fine. And my manager we did the MRI scan. We sent it to Dr. Muller in Germany. Dr. Muller said, she's done. I was like, I'm going to show him what I'm made of. Then I went to Olympics. We fixed it. When I cut the leg, I told Anita, look, because you can't see anything because the angle was swollen, was big. Let me just go home just for a weekend and see. And then when I got home, I went to a traditional way. I cut myself, take out the blood, cut myself again, take out the blood. And then when I came back, the angle was alive. It was a little bit alive, and then we started working. I wasn't speaking to Anita at all. No words. I would just come in, bow my head to just say hello, and then I sit on the bed. But when that day, after a few days, the ankle clicked, there was a celebration. Hey! I'm back now, I'm back. If the ankle clicks, means I can run. And she worked on the ankle, needling, working on the mobility, everything. All of a sudden, it comes back to life. We try to run outside. Then I couldn't feel nothing. When I was jogging, I said, good. Then we had a sponge in my shoes just to put the support, on my spikes and, the running shoes and everything. And I did physio morning, afternoons. It's like I was doing the morning. It's like I had meals, breakfast and lunch and dinner every day for 31 days.
Wow.
Before Olympics. And it worked. And it worked. And the coach, I told him, stay away a little bit, I'll call you. I worked on the gym, I implemented everything in the gym, and it was good. But the main focus was for me to do a lot of cardio work in the gym. So to feel like, because I had this ACT trainer where I did the program on it, and it worked perfectly.
It did.
It worked. And going to Olympics, I told them, like, as long as I can win gold, even if I break this leg, it's fine. I'll deal with it later on. And I went there with one leg, not strong.
You ran 155.
I ran 155 because you got to be crazy in your mind to that. And people who always run good, they're not in really good condition.
Yeah.
I must tell you that.
I mean, it's crazy to hear all that because no one knew. The whole time, the rest of the whole world is writing articles about how you're going to win gold and controversy and everything.
Of course.
And I remember I was there. I was in Rio. I was at the press conference afterwards. And the reason I sat in the press conference, I was like, everyone in this room thinks there's fireworks about to go off.
Yeah.
This is now, we didn't have that press conference in Berlin. You weren't there. But this time at the Rio Olympics, you're going to sit down and answer questions when there's just so much tension and controversy up in the air. And first question gets asked, and you immediately diffuse the whole situation.
Of course.
Because if you didn't do that, it was going to be nonstop questions to you, Margaret, Francine, about DSD, the testosterone and everything.
I had to set the statement to say, hey, we own the moment, we are the moment, we are in the moment. Let us enjoy the victory. You understand? You are not going to come here talk about someone who is not in the race, someone who is regulating women's sports. No. We want to talk about the race. Ask the question based on the race. Don't ask question based on the future that we don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know what's happening at the moment. I know I'm happy. I'm happy that I won gold for my people. You understand? So ask me about that. And for me, diffusing that, I had to set it straight to say, hey, you don't mess with me. You understand?
Yeah, because I also feel like someone like Wambui was so young in that situation that she was the equivalent of you in 2009. She didn't have the education or the way to respond to everything. And so it was handled really well. And then from there, I think you thought that could have been your last 800-meter race.
Of course, yeah, because I had to protect them as well, you understand? But for me, I'm used to it. I can do anything. And I was matured enough. And knowing that it might be our last 800 meters, it had to be memorable, you understand? We don't want controversy. We don't want people talking about the soccer. We want people to talk about how brilliant the race is. We have done the clean sweep. It was only Africa, you understand? For us as Africans, we are united. We make sure that we celebrate our victories, regardless of what. And we did just that. Yeah.
You categorize kind of the years after that, 2017 to 2019, as basically like your Michael Jordan version of The Last Dance.
Of course. That was my last dance, and I did the dance well. I flipped the moonwalks and all those things.
In 2017, you even decided to go after, you did 400, 1500.
Yes.
I didn't even realize while I was reading the book that you initially, had it not been for the injury, wanted to do the double 400, 800 at the Olympics.
If I didn't have that problem, I could have doubled in the Olympics, 8 and 4.
How competitive do you think you would have been in that 400?
Of course, I could have won a medal then.
That's the Shawnee Miller-Weibo with Allyson Felix era.
Yeah, of course, I could have won a medal because I was in a good state to do that. And considering how the final went down, I had possibilities to do anything in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in 2017, then you give the 1500 a try.
Of course.
And I didn't know. You say 1500 meters is your favorite race.
1500 was my favorite race. It's still my favorite race because it challenges me. It's one of that race that you need to get your tactics right. You need to move at the right time. If you delay your moves, you are doomed. That's what happened to me, in 2017 because when they moved, I tried to move, someone jump in front of me. I have to wait, be patient. But that messed up my goals, messed up my plans, you understand? Probably I could have contested for a gold. But, if things are not meant to be, if things are not meant to be, no. For me, I can't say it was hard to beat because we are competitive. I need to give her to run for her life. She needs to make me run for my life. So for me, I love competing with her. I enjoyed it because I remember we had the ice bath there, talking. She was like, really, are you doing 1500? I said, I'm here for you. You understand? So, yeah, I'm that kind of an athlete that I never back down to any challenge. So, yeah.
The final 100 meters of that race?
Yeah.
That's maybe the craziest race.
It's the craziest because I didn't realize that Simpson was coming from the inside lane.
The inside?
Yes, I didn't realize that.
She's a master tactician.
And I was like, what the hell? I see a blue reflection coming in my eyesight. I was like...
Sifan was going backwards.
Sifan is going backwards.
Laura
Muir is here. I'm like, but I gotta get something out of this. If that's the case, I have to dip or dive, I'm gonna dive for my medal.
The
Because
dive
I'm
was
not,
funny.
Violet was there. I'm not going to disappoint Violet in front of the world. You understand?
Yeah.
She was a 1,500-meter runner. You know, I had to do it for her. You see, now we have a 1,500-meter, medal in the house. We have gold medals in the house, so we fulfilled, man. There's nothing that we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we look at 2019. You get the chance to meet with world record holder Jarmila
Of course.
Krejcikova.
Yes.
And she, tells you that you're the person most capable of
Yeah.
breaking her world record.
Of course.
And at this point, tensions are even higher with the IAAF World Athletics at that point. Now, those last couple of races, each time out, did you think this is a world record attempt?
No, for me, it was not. I was not attempting any world record. Remember, I'm a master class.
Yeah.
I know 800 meters now. I knew that for me, I need to get closer to breaking 155 each race that I run. If I can run 6 times under 155s, I know I can do it. And I was getting closer. I knew that if I had 3 or 4 more races to do that, of course, it was possible for me to do it. And when we spoke with her, she was like, I thought you were crazy when I met you in 2011. But what I see now, I see a mature athlete, someone who understands splits, someone who knows when to move. You understand? Because what made me dangerous in 800 meters is because I believed in even splits. So for me, it was never about the speed. It was about the pace that I ran. If I can keep that pace for long, I didn't care about the fast, the fast first lap. No, I don't care about it. I care about me capitalizing on the corners, making sure that if I pass 56, I come back 58. So for me, if I had that chance to go 55, 57, kaboom.
That's how you would have done it?
Yes.
I need to know this for my own peace of mind. June 2019, that's your last
Of course.
800.
Yes.
After that, in practice, at any point, did you ever do all-out 800?
No.
Never.
Come on, no.
Because I've always wanted to know. It's like, I wonder if you've done it ever.
I have never done that because, remember then, it was all about me preparing myself for long-distance running. So for me, I am that focused athlete who does not, I don't focus on things that I cannot control.
Right. The practice PR doesn't matter.
Yes, it does not matter. It didn't matter about 800 meters because I remember one of the corporates that I partnered with, they proposed that when they're running, the final in Doha, I must run 800 meters. I said, I'm not desperate. I'm 800 meters. I make 800 meters. 800 meters don't make me. You must go back to the statistics. You'll understand. If you look at my stats, you understand what I mean. So for me, I have no unfinished business in 800 meters because I have done what I was supposed to do.
You have to be a little curious here now. We see everyone now running with the fancy lights and the super spikes. What could you have done with both?
For me, I don't really care about the likes of. At the end of the day, I am not in this moment. It's not my moment. It's it's Atimu's moment. You understand? For me, what I will do is to encourage her to believe in herself. If she wanna go for it, she must go for it. You understand? For me, I played my role. My time has passed. If I were to come back and do that, it will be a privilege. You understand? To make sure that also I push her to her limits. I push her to her boundaries because that's the only athlete I look up to. You understand? I think she's the next, the great 800-meter runner. If she can compose that and she makes sure that she focus on the splits, she makes sure that she maintain that speed, come on, it's easy for her to do that.
I was going to ask you because, before we even started recording, I said you weren't in Budapest competing this summer, but you said you watched it. You watched all of it.
Of course, I watched.
What have you made of, the new faces in the 800? Athing, Keely, Mary Mora. There's now everyone calls them the new big three.
Of course.
And they're so young that they can hopefully challenge like the world record in
Of
the
course.
coming years. But for you to watch now from the sidelines, I mean, what have you made of the 800 now in the steps that it's taken?
You have to understand that they are in their era. They're different from me.
You were the greatest of your era.
Of course,
You write that in the
I'm the greatest of my era. They are the greatest of their era. So for them, I think they need to not fear to challenge the times, because sometimes they play around a lot. You know, they want to hold and kick. I've done that when I was learning. My advice to them would be, go learn 800 meters. When you're ready to challenge it, go for it. But I love watching them run. But if they ran with us, for me, I'll make sure that they run for their lives every day, because I cannot risk running with the fresh blood. The fresh blood, they can move anyhow they want, as I did to the other generation, you see. So it's the same thing. It's a generation to generation. I love how they run. I always, enjoy watching them. And I always go for, Atimu, because I like, her strides. She's tall. She's got speed. She just needs to compose and balance and just do it. For her, come on.
Yeah.
She has it. Mora, Hopkins, they're good. But the big deal, if we were to speak for me from one 800 meter to another, come on.
It's such a shame we never got peak you versus I think Mo.
I think it will always be unfair. It's like you comparing Kobe Bryant,
right.
The late Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, and those are the big threes. The big three, and LeBron. You understand? They are the greatest of their generation. Michael Jordan did what he had to do at his own time. LeBron is the greatest of our generation. You understand? Kobe Bryant did what he did. Tim Duncan did what he did. You understand? All those, NBA, players, and we on the track. Each generation has their own to portray greatness, and it's always unfair to compare athletes, compare achievements, and all those things, because we are in different eras. Yeah.
Where's your head at right now? With we're heading into an Olympics year.
Yes.
In terms of your own professional career on the track, is that a goal? Like the options are, of course, 5K, 10K, and we've seen you run some of those races. But I guess for you, is there any fulfillment in the Olympics next year?
I think for me, I have no longer have desires for anything in terms of competition. For me now, I do sports socially.
But not retired, right?
No, I'll never retire, because I've been stopped from running. Anyway, I was never going to retire, because when I came into sports, I did not introduce myself. But retirement will not be the word I will use if I'm being stopped like that. I'll just continue on, advocating for sports, advocating for women, fighting for what is right, and make sure that women are treated with respect. You understand? I'll always stand for women. Yes.
When I closed the book, there were moments when I was thinking, all right, well, the last 20 pages or so, you go at Sebastian Coe a little bit.
Of course.
Is there anyone that, at the very beginning, you talked about some of those fellow competitors, ones who badmouthed you in the media and said some hurtful things, but over the years have come around to be friends and colleagues. And is there anyone out there that you feel like owes you an apology or anything? No.
I need no apology to no one. I need no validation to no one. No one at all.
So if Seb Coe sat down right here.
I don't give a shit about that. I don't need to sit with him down and discuss anything. I have no desire to do that. This is more of a personal issue that we as human, we have. He disrespected me publicly, you understand? So I don't care. I have no feelings for him, so whatever. I respect his job. He's the president. It's okay. But personally, we have no relationship. We have no connection. So I don't think I'll give him a chance, or I need a chance, me and him, to sit down for anything. He means nothing to me. I mean nothing to him. You understand? Then For me, he's just a human like any other. I respect him as a human. I just don't like his attitude. Yes.
The title of the book is The Race to Be Myself.
Yeah.
I know now that race has moved off the track, and we've been in courtrooms for a lot of it. And, there's rulings that we're waiting on. I guess, when does this race end?
The race can never end because up until women's sports is respected, women are treated equally as men, this race will never stop. For me, like I said, I am going to advocate for women's sports. I'm going to make sure that I fight for what is right. I fight those men who always think that they have a say on how women should look like. That's what I'm going to fight for. I don't care who you are, who you think the power you have, but you must know that once you touch women, you touch me because I'm a woman. You understand? And I'll always fight for what is right, regardless of what. I don't care what powers you hold or anything. You must know that when it comes to us women, we're going to come for you. Yes.
My final question for you, Castor, is, hearing you speak today, and it comes through in the book, just like the power of this message that you're portraying. If the Castor sitting in front of me knew today how her career was going to pan out, and we go back to the little girl in Limpopo.
Yes.
And I guess, what would she have said to her about, the road that was ahead? It has not been an easy road.
What I can say to a young Castor will see is the same thing. Take time to understand yourself. Take time to study the person you are. Love yourself. Appreciate yourself. Accept yourself. Have the best relationship with yourself. Respect yourself. All those things. If you can do that, have a better relationship with yourself, it becomes easy. Don't worry about what people say about you. Worry about what makes you happy, what you think of yourself. When you look at that mirror, what reflects there should make you happy. Rock that person, embrace that person, make that person happy, which is you. That's what I can say. And if you can do that, you can never let any individual make you feel like you're not enough. You can never let any individual violate you. You can never let any individual make you do things that you don't want to do. You can never let anyone make you act out of desperation because you know your cause, you know your purpose, you know the purpose of your life. Just go out there, enjoy yourself. That's what I can say.
Castor, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much for finally opening up in your book. And I encourage a lot of people to pick up the book and read it because, for so many years we've watched you run on the track, and this is the complete version of that story.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope everyone will learn from this book and be the best that they can be.
Thank you.
Thank you.